Well, absolutely. For a player of Sindhu's caliber and the way she has played in this tournament so far, bronze perhaps will be a consolation for her. But as far as Pooja Rani was concerned, the boxer for India, it was a rather tame dismissal the way she went out of the tournament, or rather knocked out of the tournament from China's Li Qian, well, who just thrashed her and threw her out of the competition, and all the hype surrounding Pooja Rani, who was just one match or rather one game, one victory away from assuring India and herself of at least a bronze medal, have went up in smoke. Here's what happened in that lopsided match just a few hours ago.
Boxer Pooja Rani's Olympic campaign came to an end in the quarter-finals. Rani was only a win away from ensuring another medal for India. But her Chinese counterpart, Li Qian, wasn't ready to give the Indian even an inch in the last state of the women's middleweight category. Punches came flying one after the other, and Rani did not have the answer. Such was the domination that at the end of the first two rounds, Rani's coach gave the boxer an earful, telling her how she needs to start attacking more, otherwise she'd lose. But it did not matter, because Rani had all but given up in the final round. Li Qian was adjudged the winner by a unanimous decision. The bronze medalist from 2016 Rio Games proved to be too tough an opponent for the Indian. However, Rani's father had encouraging words for the Indian boxer. According to Rajveer Boria, a retired Haryana policeman, his daughter will win the gold medal next time.
यहाँ से जाते वक्त मेरी बातचीत हुई थी वीडियो कॉलिंग पे, उसने कहा था पापा ठीक है चिंता मत करो, जीत के मेडल लेकर के आऊंगी,
मेडल लेकर के आऊंगी।
हाँ, निराश नहीं होने दूंगी। ये
अभी जो जिस लेवल पे आके वो हार गई हैं तो आपको उदासी है, लेकिन आपको आगे के लिए क्या उम्मीद है?
उम्मीद है जी आगे पूरी मेहनत करेगी, आगे मेडल लेकर के आएगी।
मेडल लेकर के आएगी, आपको पूरी उम्मीद है, ऐसा लगता है आपको?
पूरी उम्मीद है जी।
Let's hope his words do come true. Sports Bureau India Today.
Yeah, you saw it. It was a difficult fight, always going to be a difficult fight with Li Qian of China. With such an opponent, I mean, a Chinese boxer of pedigree, the world #1 at this point in time, against Pooja. Pooja was a big underdog. And if you also see Pooja's record against this Chinese boxer in the past, she's lost a few times to Pooja. So if you watched India Today all through the day, you would have seen our broadcasts where we repeatedly made this point that Pooja was always going to be the underdog. But the point is, if she had won the first round, then things could have been different. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. That's the story of Indian boxing. I mean, today it's been a pretty bad day for Indian boxing. Let me also tell our viewers on India Today that Satish, who has already won his bout and is going to play the quarterfinals tomorrow, Satish has a gash here, has a deep cut here and an undercut here. And from what I know from Ajay Singh, the Boxing Federation of India president, who is now in Tokyo and met Satish, he will only take field provided the doctors clear him. So let's be very clear on India Today. So that is the breaking, that Satish will only take field provided the doctors clear him. There was another disappointing day in terms of, in archery, with Deepika Kumari, Atanu Das, both losing in consecutive days. Yesterday, Deepika, today, Atanu. And thereafter, the husband-wife duo spoke to my colleague, Rahul Rawat, talking about what could have been in the mixed team event if they were paired by the Archery Federation of India. Listen to Rahul Rawat talking to the archery duo.
पहले मैं आपसे पूछूंगा कि कैसे देखते हैं आप ये कैंपेन, और आपकी शुरुआत बहुत अच्छी हुई थी अतानु इस इंडिविजुअल राउंड में, बट आज एक सडन अब्रप्ट ब्रेक आ गया। कैसे देखते हैं आप इस पूरी कैंपेन को? क्या सोचा था और क्या हुआ है?
देखिए, वैसे सोचा तो बहुत कुछ था, बट हमेशा ओलंपिक्स में जो है सरप्राइजेस मिलते रहते हैं हर दिन का। सो मैंने अपना पूरा कोशिश किया, जोर लगाया, बट नहीं हो पाया। सो देखते हैं आगे।
दीपिका, कल आपने भी जो प्रेशर एक बोलते हैं कि क्योंकि एक्सपीरियंस के साथ आप प्रेशर को भी बेटर डील कर सकती हैं, आपने अपने जब प्री क्वार्टर फाइनल्स में जब आप खेल रही थी, शूट ऑफ में आपने एक 10 पॉइंटर मारा। आपकी जो ओपोनेंट थी ऑफ कोर्स वो उस प्रेशर को नहीं झेल पाई, उन्होंने 7, तो उम्मीदें बढ़ गई थी। इस सीजन, इस ओलंपिक्स में जब आप आई, मेडल क्या आपको दिख रहा था? क्या आप बेटर प्रिपेयर्ड थी जितना आप लंदन में थी या फिर रियो में थी इस ओलंपिक्स के लिए?
ऑब्वियसली मैं बहुत ज़्यादा प्रिपेयर्ड थी, और लास्ट ओलंपिक से जो भी गलतियां हुई थी उससे मैंने काफ़ी कुछ सीखा था और मैंने इम्प्रूव भी किया था। आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं फिर से कुछ गलत हुआ है और मुझे फाइंड आउट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, एंड आई होप मैं और अपने आप को इम्प्रूव कर सकूँ।
अच्छा, क्योंकि आप देखिए हस्बैंड वाइफ भी हैं, साथ में रहते हैं, जाते हैं, ट्रैवल करते हैं, compete करते हैं, ब्रेक मिलता है आर्चरी से? क्योंकि अब आप यहाँ पर होंगे भी 24 घंटे, क्या यही बातें होती रहती हैं? कौन कैसा खेल रहा है, कब कहाँ खेलना है, क्या है, ट्रेनिंग कैसे करनी है, तो वो मेंटली बर्नआउट हो जाता है क्या कभी कभार कि आप ब्रेक ले लेते हैं? पता नहीं,
ब्रेक लेने का एक्चुअली मौका ही नहीं मिलता है। इतना बैक टू बैक कॉम्पिटिशन्स रहते हैं, बैक टू बैक एक्चुअली ट्रायल्स रहते हैं, कॉम्पिटिशन्स रहते हैं फिर बीच बीच में, और ब्रेक लेने का बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं रहता है। जैसे हम लोग का आफ्टर मैरिड हम लोग कहीं पे जी, वो तो कोविड की वजह से भी है, कहीं पे कोई जा नहीं सकता, बट हम घर बनाए हैं, बट घर पे भी नहीं जा पाते हैं। मतलब 8 महीना पहले घर गए थे लास्ट, तो दैट इज नॉट एन इशू, बट वो कोविड भी चल रहा है, तो बट वही ब्रेक नहीं मिलता। आर्चरी चलता रहता है कंटिन्यू।
अच्छा दीपिका, ये थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी सवाल है, क्योंकि आपने देखिए अभी पीछे वर्ल्ड कप पेरिस में गोल्ड मेडल जीता था मिक्स टीम इवेंट में भी। प्रवीण जाधव मिक्स टीम इवेंट में आपके साथ उन्होंने पेयर अप किया था, उनके क्योंकि 2-3 पॉइंट ज़्यादा थे अतानु से इंडिविजुअल राउंड में, रैंकिंग राउंड में, पर फेडरेशन का फैसला था कि भाई उनके हाथ में था। आपको लगता है कि अगर आप दोनों का कॉम्बिनेशन बैठा होता उसमें थोड़ा सा बेहतर हो सकती थी चीजें? हालांकि ये देखिए बात बीत चुकी है, पर फिर भी मैं ये आपसे सवाल पूछूंगा।
ये बात खत्म हो चुकी है, अभी हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते इस मामले में, बट हाँ, अगर उस वक्त वो स्ट्रांगली डिसीजन लिया जाता तो माइट बी आज सिचुएशन कुछ अलग होती।
आपको लगता है कि एक बेटर चांस था हमारा ओलंपिक्स में मेडल का?
ऑब्वियसली, क्योंकि क्या होता है ना कि एक पोडियम फिनिशिंग होता है, एक बंदे के अंदर एक क्वालिटी होती है जो एक बंदे ने डेवलप की होती है, एंड टीम कोऑर्डिनेशन होता है, कम्युनिकेशन होता है, विच इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट। और कहीं ना कहीं जो इतना साल हमने मेहनत किया और इस जगह पे आके वो चीज़ अचानक से वो ख़त्म हो गया। बट क्या होता है ना कि आप एक परफॉर्मेंस में आप सब जज कर लेते हो, बट आप जो पूरा 3-4 साल आप परफॉर्मेंस दे रहे हो उसको आप जज नहीं करते हो, उसके बेसिस पे आप उसको आप नहीं देख रहे हो,
एक्सपीरियंस को आपने डिस्काउंट कर दिया।
यस, वो बहुत गलत होता है। तो मैं यही कहूँगी कि प्लीज़ डिसीजन थोड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग लीजिए, और जो बाकी परफॉर्मेंस है उसको भी देखिए, किसी एक गलत परफॉर्मेंस की वजह से, क्योंकि हम लोग भी इंसान ही है, गलती किसी से भी कभी भी हो सकती है, हम जानबूझ के गलती नहीं करते हैं। तो आई थिंक आपको थोड़ा डिसीजन स्ट्रांगली लेना बहुत जरूरी है।
अच्छा दीपिका, पीछे जो आपको देखा था हमने पहले जब आप ओलंपिक से आती थी, खेलती थी ओलंपिक्स में, उस दीपिका में और इस दीपिका में हम फर्क देख रहे हैं। ये दीपिका थोड़ी ज्यादा स्ट्रांग दिखती हैं हमें, जिस हिसाब से आप आज अपनी बात रखती हैं। पहले हमने देखा है आपको, आप प्रेशर में, मैं सिर्फ खेलने की प्रेशर की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, जब आपको क्रिटिसाइज किया जाता था उसमें, ये दीपिका क्या वाकई में ज्यादा स्ट्रांग है? और क्या हम उम्मीद कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि एज देखिए आपकी एज जो है वो आपकी अभी भी आपके साथ है, तो ओलंपिक्स की जर्नी जारी रहेगी अभी?
ऑब्वियसली, क्योंकि यही चीज आती है मुझे करने के लिए, और जब तक मैं कर सकती हूँ मैं करूँगी, और छोड़ूंगी तो नहीं।
Boria, obviously, players, archers were disappointed, of course, with their performance. But let me be a little neutral here. What do you think would have been the right choice? Because the Federation or the Archery Association of India had to pick one out of Praveen Jadhav and Atanu Das. They could have either gone with experience of Atanu Das, who has already played one Olympics, or they could have given a youngster a chance who actually qualified on merit or was ahead on points. But yes, he lacked experience. Deepika, of course, shares a good rapport with her husband Atanu Das and has a sense of reliance with her. What do you think would have been the right choice?
Atanu and Deepika 200%. You and I were together that day. How many points did Praveen Jadhav beat Atanu in that ranking round? By 3 points. Did Atanu get 680? I mean, did Praveen Jadhav get 680 and shatter the earth? No. Why would you change so you mean to say this is, what this was like? This was like Mahesh Bhupati and Sania Mirza winning the French Open, India pairing Leander Paes and Sania Mirza in their London games. Doesn't work. Last moment, if you change combination, one person who is actually part of that combination will feel underdone. In this case, Deepika Kumari. You should have 100% gone with Atanu Das because that was your prefixed combination when you came here. And that combination had a chance of winning a medal. All of a sudden, you completely tampered with that and made a mess of it. So my point, very clear, Atanu and Deepika should have played together.
Well, that's right. Atanu and Deepika is what, Boria, you are saying. Atanu and Deepika is what both these players and archers also feel that perhaps they had the best shot or the best chance to win a medal in mixed team event. Well, boxing, I'll come back to boxing after Pooja Rani, what she did in the evening. It started with Amit Pangal in the morning and unfortunately it didn't go his way. But to all of us, it came as a shocker. Amit Pangal, the number 1 seed in the flyweight category, crashed out in his first round itself. Pangal was a little too defensive during the game and paid the price against Colombia's Yuberén Martinez. Martinez never allowed Pangal to settle into the fight and his constant punches were a menace for the Indian. The judges ruled the fight in favor of Martinez by a score of 4-1. Well, that's pretty one-sided or a lopsided contest if you go by the score line. But Boria, are you actually expecting more medals in boxing?
Rahul, let me first break this. Indian women's team qualifies for the hockey quarterfinals. Now that Ireland has lost that match to Great Britain, the Indian women's team are through to the last 8. Compared to Rio, this is actually a big achievement.
That's a big
from
one.
Rani Rampal. Exactly, Rahul. From Rani Rampal, Savita Punia and that team. Vandana Kataria got a hat-trick today. I'm thrilled the fact that after the 3 losses, they've made it to the quarterfinals. Asking your question of boxing, the answer is no. Because Satish Kumar, from what Ajay Singh tells me, Ajay is in Tokyo. He met Satish today. The doctor has to clear Satish Kumar for him to take the field. And if he does take the field, there is every chance of that wound opening up. So no, Lavlina Borgohain is the medal that we've got. Can that become gold or silver? Yes, there is a chance. I actually spoke to Lavlina Borgohain today morning on the phone, and she was sounding very confident, Rahul. We'll speak to you and me, India Today, Aaj Tak and Sports Tak, on the day of that semi-final soon after. So she actually said, sir, interview tab karna jab main semi-final bout jeet lungi. So that was great to hear. So that's the medal. The color is what we are more interested in at this point. But I do not expect Satish, who is very unwell, to really challenge the world number 1 boxer.
Well, that's the spirit, as you said, Lavlina Borgohain. Do not settle for bronze. You always lose a silver. You always win a gold. Amit Pangal, but Boria, it's a huge news. It's actually a very pleasing news that we've just got to know that Indian women's hockey team has made it to the quarterfinals. Let me just tell you the relevance and significance of this particular development. India, of course, won their match against South Africa this evening, earlier today, 4-3, and had to wait for the match between Ireland and Great Britain because they wanted, or they would have preferred Great Britain to beat Ireland, and that is exactly what happened. Remember, India first women's team, the first women's hockey team that India fielded was in Rio. That is just one Olympics earlier, and today they are in the quarterfinals, and so is the Indian men's team. So that's quite an achievement. But I am going to now come to a better news, and what better news is that Kamalpreet Kaur, the discus thrower, ace discus thrower, India's national record holder, has made it to the finals. And well, 64 meter is what her throw was, Seema, until of course the veteran discus thrower couldn't make it to the final. But it's quite an achievement considering only a handful of Indian athletes have made it to the finals of an Olympics athletics event. Boria, quite an achievement. I know in India people are expecting, and people have already, on social media especially, have been saying and wanting to see Kamalpreet on the podium, but that will be quite a far-fetched dream. She would have to perform really well from here to win that medal on 2nd of August.
It's not a far-fetched dream if you see the performance today. I mean, yes, there are certain people who have qualified who have thrown more. There's a 70, there's the American as well. So a couple of them, yes, Rahul, but Kamalpreet, if she throws like this, if she touches 65, there is every reason to believe that she can definitely win a medal. You mentioned the women's hockey team. Just to clarify, this is not the second time. This is actually the third time. Women's hockey was introduced in 1980 at the Moscow Games, and the Chakde girls, I call them the Chakde girls, they were one step away, Rahul, from winning a medal in 1980. That did not happen, and then the second time they qualified in Rio, which was a bad campaign, and now they've qualified again for the quarterfinals.
Yes, majority of the teams had boycotted that Moscow Olympic Games in 1980, but we are looking ahead as well. Tomorrow, the men's hockey team, they also have history in sights. They'll be taking on Great Britain in the quarterfinals, and a victory will ensure their place in semi-final, which would be the first time since the very 1980 Olympics that Boria just mentioned about. So that's going to be quite a contest, and so would be PV Sindhu versus He Bingjiao for the bronze medal playoff. We'll have an eye on those particular contests. Me and Boria will once again join you the entire day tomorrow, and will get you all the updates from here, Tokyo Olympics. For now, thanks for watching.